Welcome back, everybody. It is a Thrifty Thursday this morning on Rising. Tax season is here, and so is our friend James Gallagher.
Hi, how are you
Hey,
doing?
good.
Nice to see you.
How are you? Good to see you, too. And so we're going to talk with James about filing early to avoid identity theft. So he's with Waterstone Financial.
Right.
Explain to us, so early is key. You're not just going to get your money faster, but you're going to avoid potential pitfalls.
No, there's a huge problem out there. Last year, the IRS agrees that they paid out about $5 billion to fraudulent tax returns. So the way this works is they don't necessarily have all your information, but they've got your Social Security and your name. With those two pieces, they can contrive a tax return, send it into the IRS, get a refund before you've ever filed. And so that's the way it works. I know it works that way because in our small tax firm, with only doing a couple of hundred returns, we've now had 3 instances that's happened to our clients.
I'm glad you said that, because something I do want to mention is that tax fraud is happening here. In fact, the IRS, I believe, opened up an office in Fort Myers last year or the year before to specifically combat it, because it was such an issue here. And it's in bigger cities, but this is one of the smaller cities that it's in, because it is a problem.
Anywhere.
So let's talk about you know, how thieves are operating and how they're actually getting this information.
Well, as I say, I'm not sure that after dealing with the IRS in this, I'm not sure that they actually know specifics about you necessarily, but they're using your name and Social Security numbers from someplace, getting it onto that tax return. So the way you combat it is you file early. The reason you need to file early is really the first person that uses that name and Social Security number on a tax return, they're the ones that are going to have the tax return go through. What happens when you are late filing is that if it's a fraud, maybe not fraudulent, it's your tax return, but the IRS will reject the return because it's already been used.
Okay, now I'm going to be filing, I'm going to be giving Uncle Sam some dough this season.
Right.
So do I need to worry as much as those who are getting those big refunds, or is it kind of everybody?
It's everybody. It doesn't matter who it is, because they're just going to use your name and number, not your information, to create a fraudulent return. That's why I say file early. The other thing is file electronically, and because that's going to make sure it's in quickly. In our firm, with our tax software, if we try to file and your Social Security's already been used, it'll immediately be rejected. We'll know within hours that it's happened to you, and start working with the IRS right away to try to figure out what to do about it.
Where does the taxpayer go from here? Do they just have to sit and wait for the IRS to work through it?
One of my clients was getting a refund from last year. She still has not received her refund to date, and we've been working with them at least every 2 weeks since then.
Okay, so it's obviously a big, long waiting game once this does happen,
yes,
so
it's
avoid
a
it.
big issue,
So this tax season can be a difficult one, obviously, for taxpayers. What about when we get our refund? That's the best part of tax season. How should we spend that refund?
Well, you know, the refund, it's always for some people, it's a great big hunk of money coming in. For others, we have to pay, but for others, it's a big hunk. But that's maybe not the time to go spend it on a new car or something like that. It's maybe the time to take and start that retirement plan or pay off some debt if you have debt. So that's what I would recommend.
Because it's really rare when you have that big chunk of change instead of just having to save for that big amount. So obviously using it the best to your advantage. Good. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Any other tips you can give us, or anything we didn't get to cover?
Yeah, there's one huge thing, and that is that the whole business is about the Affordable Care Act. It's fundamentally changing parts of the return this year, and I think there's going to be a lot of trouble with people trying to get their own returns done this year. The IRS, I think, is going to be flooded with issues because of it. We've had our tax preparers specifically trained now in those forms and what's going to happen, what the IRS expects, and it's not going to be as simple as we think.
Okay, so it might be a good idea to consult a professional for some help.
Yeah, WaterstoneFinancial.net. We have a tax service and love to help people.
Okay, perfect. Well, thanks for coming out. As always, informational. Great to see you too.
Nice to see you.